My milkshake dice bring the boys to the yard, they roll better than yours. It's Jay in the workshop today. I had this idea for milkshake dice. I was thinking I could put little cut up straws in them and make the interior look like a little strawberry milkshake. So let's go on this journey with me and find out if we can make that into dice, all right?
This is my intro song, why don't you sing along? Hey, let's see what's up this week, Shop J-Dot.
I love a good craft where I can use up old craft supplies that have just been lingering around the office. So in this case, it's an old straw that I cut up into pieces and stuck in the mold. But the next step was to put in a little bit of UV resin and cure it inside the straw, mostly to keep the straw in place. I didn't want it to tip over or get lost in the resin, so you can see they're pretty well stuck in there at this point. And then once that's all set up, I actually start by putting a little bit of clear resin, just uncolored, unflavored resin. Let that cure in the pressure pot, and then I'm going to add a little more clear resin on top. And what that does is add some texture to the next bit of resin that I'm going to add. The rest of this is basically going to go on top of all of that just to finish out the dice. And you can see that I put some white in there, and then we're going to go ahead and do some more white with some pink, but we're not going to mix the pink in entirely. I'm just going to swirl it around so we get those lovely strawberry swirls for our strawberry milkshake dice. And then just going to go ahead and top them all off. I even dropped a little ink in each one just to get some extra intense pink in there. And after that, of course, we got to put a little white on top, do the forbidden sandwich, which is we got to lace the top of the mold with more resin to try to reduce air bubbles. Give it a good squish, and then what's a sandwich without a sandwich press? So I have this little device that I designed to help keep my lid on pretty snugly. You just want to make sure you don't tighten it too much, but we want to get it on there as flush as possible to reduce the flashing and the amount of bubbles and voids. And you can see here I've pulled it out, and peeky-boo for sure. Hello, little guy. Let's see what's inside. And we did pretty well. There's only one really huge void, which I'm just going to use a little more UV resin to repair. And that should just add to the swirliness of the dice. And then we're just going to go ahead and start peeling off all that flashing, super thin like I said, and we'll get these bad Mamba Jumbas out of there, and they're perfect. It was exactly the design that I had in mind and exactly how I wanted it to go. You can see the little straw peeking out of the milkshake there. Absolutely gorgeous. The strawberry swirls and the white and that soft pink, and how there's a little bit of texture on the top, making it look just extra super creamy. I mean, I've never wanted a strawberry milkshake more than pulling these dice out, I'll tell you that. And I was just pretty happy to make a set of dice that, should bring all the boys to the yard, if you know what I mean. Now, this set was developed basically driving around with a friend, and I was realizing that I could absolutely make milkshake dice, and it would be super fun. But let's see how they roll. That is definitely the goods there. And then the next steps, I mean, they're not done at that point, as much as I wish they were. But I got to trim off all the little bits of flashing, using a little knife and sometimes some flush nippers. And you can see I'm getting in close here and just doing a bunch of little passes just to get them as close as possible without damaging the die. And once we've got all of that done, the next step, of course, is to sand all those edges completely flat. I start with about 500 grit sandpaper there. That's that black paper there. All that really does is give me the wiggle room I need to get everything flat as quickly as I can and give it a good clean off. And you can see I'm going to fill in a few more bubbles and try to get that as flat as possible. Just some ones I discovered while I was sanding. And then we're going to go ahead and make everything completely flush, and you can kind of see where the bubbles have been filled in. And the next step is actually paint. You can actually do the next two steps in any order. You can paint and then polish, or the polish and then paint, but I prefer to paint and then polish because the polish will help take off some of that excess paint. Now, of course, for the strawberry milkshake dice, I couldn't resist doing a really beautiful pale pink. A lovely little strawberry pink right in there, just strawberry and cream pink. That's what I'm trying to say, like that beautiful creamy strawberry pink on all of these numbers, just to add more to that soft detail that goes into these dice. Now, I admit painting is my least favorite part of the process. Usually, I give those dice over to my shop partner who loves to paint and finds it very relaxing. And I'm really happy to let them do that because, frankly, this is just sort of tedious for me. Going through all the numbers, I usually start with the d20 because it's got the most numbers and work my way down. I'm a very much an eat the oat bits first and have a bowl of marshmallows at the end kind of person. So you can see here, just one by one, the paint job on each one of these and how gorgeous and pretty it looks, just getting those numbers filled in and cleaned off. And there is one more step before I go into polish. I gotta let the paint dry really, because I don't want it to get taken back out again when I'm cleaning them off with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. And then for polishing, we go back to the pottery wheel and I start wetting down my polishing papers. And on these particular dice, I'm not going to polish them like to the full clarity shine because you're not really trying to see inside that pink part. So we really only need to go up to about 2 microns, maybe 15 microns in polish there just to get it to look like the rest of the dice and be the pretty pink strawberry milkshakes we know they can be. And then the last step is, of course, cleaning. You know, there's little bits of stray paint, little bits of stray dust, and I basically just take a microfiber cloth, douse it in rubbing alcohol, and rub everything clean. This is actually my favorite part because you go from a grubby little messy thing that you're working on to a beautiful, completed work of art that's absolutely gorgeous and shiny. It's a rare thing when something goes from concept to finished item and ends up exactly how you imagined it without having to redo the steps in between, but I could not be happier with my strawberry milkshake dice. They turned out lovely and I'd say that worked. How cute are they with the pink and the white swirls and the little piece of straw in it? I think if I made these again, what I would do is get those little polymer clay slices, the little strawberry slices, and kind of stick them in there so you get like strawberries in your strawberry milkshake. But absolutely adore them. I put them up for pre-sale to my Patreon patrons. They got snapped up immediately. So unfortunately, these ones aren't in the shop, but there are tons of dice in the shop right now. I just updated my website. It's going great. There's lots of dice available for you to go buy instead of an empty shop like it's been for a while. So encourage you to go check out what we do have. In the meantime, remember, please take your meds. Whether you forgot or not, go take your meds. And if we make nothing else, we're just going to make it a great day, all right? Love you. All videos funded by patrons at patreon.com/jdot and viewers like you. Shop hot, shop jdot.